Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Larry's Americana. We have another good one today. Let me show it to you immediately. As usual, I want to show you the magazine that it was issued in, right there. And national parks. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Yeah, a very interesting topic, I think, and a great part of Americana. I actually met in my travels one retired teacher from California. I met him at Hawaii National Park, the big volcano on Hawaii Island. And this guy from California had gotten an early retirement package from the state of California and at maybe around 50 years old. And he was spending the rest of his life visiting every single national park. Wow, how I envied him. He looked very, very happy. So anyway, I wanted to tell you about that. It's something that has stuck in my mind since I met the guy already around 10 years ago. So as I mentioned, yeah, as always, this is from the magazine I just showed you, and then from this book, Larry's Americana, published here in Japan, where I live, by NHK. Links to the book can be found on the YouTube channel down below. So, national parks. That there, of course, is Yosemite, and we will be talking about that a lot more very, very soon. So, okay, I'm going to start off by talking about a guy named Ken Burns, a documentary filmmaker who made all of these documentary films. Some of you might know, and some of them you might not know. Some are major, some are minor. And let me read to you, okay? Here we go. Ken Burns, the director, famous for many PBS television documentary series such as Baseball, Jazz, and the Civil War, has also produced a gem titled The National Parks, America's Best Idea. America's national park system is that good. America's Best Idea. That's a really nice title, huh? You probably know the names of some of these parks, and perhaps you have even visited a few or maybe many. Yellowstone, Yosemite, Grand Canyon, and Rocky Mountain, for instance. But there are many more. In total, there are almost 60 parks, or 392 national park units, including national monuments like the Statue of Liberty, spread out over the entire American landscape. They are a thing of beauty and splendor and are well worth a visit if you ever get a chance. Okay, let me continue. As a child, my family often spent the summer holidays driving around the country visiting national parks. And in fact, even now, many American families do the same. It is part of our heritage. So today, let's take a quick look at a few of the parks I visited, including one or two that you might not know much about, as well as some history and other tidbits of information. Yellowstone National Park. Oh, here's a picture of some of these are all from the Ken Burns documentary, The National Parks, America's Best Idea. And as I talk about different places and different people here, you will recognize some of these locations. So, Yellowstone. America's first national park was Yellowstone, which was established in 1872. It's a long time ago, 150 years ago? just a few years after President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. Yellowstone is huge, spanning an area of almost 9,000 square kilometers, roughly the size of Aomori Prefecture here in Japan. Can you believe that? One park. It is located mainly in the state of Wyoming, but also inhabits parts of Montana and Idaho. A friend of mine, Jane, recently visited Yellowstone and was almost eaten by a family of bears. Yeah, you got to be careful. She also saw some huge rattlesnakes. She said they were beautiful. This is big sky country, and here everything is enormous. With an abundance of nature, it supports its own ecosystem and includes mountains, forests, geysers, canyons, rivers, waterfalls, lakes, volcanoes, as well as hundreds of animal species such as the previously mentioned grizzly bears, wolves, bison, elk, and so on. Yellowstone is real wilderness at its finest. You cannot truly appreciate its magnificence magnificence without going there. So please do. Yosemite National Park. I have never forgotten my visits to Yosemite Valley. I've actually been there 3 times now. I might get to go again in the future, who knows? But it's, for me, my favorite national park. If you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. I met a guy there who had just spent a lot of time in the Grand Canyon, and he said he liked Yosemite better than the Grand Canyon because it was alive and living and beautiful in that sense. And I understand what he meant. Yosemite Valley is probably the most beautiful place I have ever been. Most people access Yosemite by car or bus from San Francisco. As you eventually drive higher and higher into the mountains, you catch, out of the corner of your eye, patches of something white high above you through the trees. That was my experience. After a few more bends in the road, there it is, Yosemite Valley and the white granite cliffs that surround her. The scene before you is so stunning that it leaves you speechless. The gorgeous black and white photos of Ansel Adams are perhaps the most iconic views we have of this wonderful park. Here is Ansel Adams here. This is not Yosemite, but this is the type of photos that he took in the 1940s and 50s. They're just gorgeous. He was a very, very talented photographer. Anyway, his black and white photos are perhaps the most iconic views we have of Yosemite. But the real thing is even better. Absolutely. And in the very same neighborhood, you can also visit Redwood National Park and see some of the largest, most beautiful trees in existence. 14 national parks have also been designated as World Heritage Sites. Let's take a look at a few of them. Okay. By the way, before I change pages here, I should just point out that this is a picture of John Muir, who is usually called the father of the national park system. He's the one that realized that all of this beauty should be preserved, and he was a mountain man, a nature person, and out in California. And he was the one that really got things going, I think, with the national park system eventually. Yeah. Okay, so some others. Mammoth Cave National Park. Located in Kentucky, this cave system is easily the largest in the world. Mammoth means huge. It includes almost 600 kilometers of passageways and once housed more than 12 million bats. I visited Mammoth once and got lost for an hour in a maze of tunnels. That's a scary feeling. The caves are composed of limestone and sandstone and contain a fascinating combination of stalactite and stalagmite formations. Tours of between 1 and 6 hours are given daily. Yeah, I took the 6 hour tour and loved it. Everglades. Everglades National Park, located in southern Florida. This truly unique wild park is the home of more than 350 species of absolutely gorgeous birds, 300 species of fresh and saltwater fish, both, fresh and saltwater, 40 species of mammals, and 50 species of reptiles. It encompasses 6,000 square meters, which is larger than in Japan here, Chiba Prefecture. So we've got one park larger than Aomori and one park larger than Chiba. One word of warning: beware mosquitoes and alligators. The park is thriving with them. Personally, I love alligators. I think they're fascinating. So this park was a great, great pleasure for me to visit. I was 12 years old at the time and will never forget it. Grand Canyon National Park, right here, right? The Grand Canyon. I wouldn't dream of leaving this park off our list. The canyon itself is huge, covering almost 5,000 square kilometers, 5,000 square kilometers, with the Colorado River running through it. It is considered to be one of the greatest natural wonders of the world. I always wonder what it must have been like hundreds of years ago for people who did not know the canyon existed and came upon it accidentally. Imagine. I love thinking about this. Imagine they're walking through the desert and all of these big, huge stone mountains that they have there in Arizona. They don't know that the Grand Canyon exists. They go around a few curves, around a few turns, come out, and boom, there is the Grand Canyon. Imagine what that must feel like. We know it exists already. We've seen pictures of it. So it's still stunning for us, but imagine for people seeing it for the first time who didn't know it existed. That must be incredible. Yeah, wow. Yeah, how would anyone react to such a phenomenon? As I mentioned, Ken Burns, if you get a chance, please seek out some of his great documentaries, and especially his one called, the National Parks. America is a great country full of surprises. Great cities like New York, Boston, and San Francisco are world famous. But for my money, America's national parks cannot be beat. No matter you are rich or poor. This is true. Even the poor, people with not that much money, middle class, lower middle class, or extremely poor, black or white, the parks are there for all people to cherish and enjoy. They are what dreams are made of. They are, and I agree with Ken Burns, they are America's best idea. Thanks a lot for joining me. I'm going to include a lot of nice links. Please check them out. Thanks a lot. Take care.